How's it going, everyone? My name is Sherbert, and the Super People Final Beta is currently live and will be until the end of August. Now, with the new beta comes newer players into the game, and for a newer player who's never really experienced Super People before, they never played the beta back in February, this can be a little overwhelming for most. You know, with crafting, you have leveling, you've got different classes, you've got different armor types, not to mention this is a battle royale, there's like 70 other guys trying to kill you. It can be a lot for newer players, so that's what this video is going to be specifically about. It is going to be for the brand new players who are just putting their feet in the Super People pool for the first time. So if you are an experienced player or if you've played before, this video is probably not going to be catered for you. We're going to put other more advanced tips and tricks coming in very shortly. This is strictly just for the newer players. So if you're a newer player and you're still kind of struggling to kind of get the basics of it, this is going to be more for you. Now we got 10 really easy and helpful tips and tricks that are going to help you with your Super People's career. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. So this first tip is pretty straightforward, but it is a big one, and that is do not forget to reload your weapons once you pick it up. Inside of Super People, there is going to be floor loot everywhere, and no matter what kind of gun or ammo type it is, if you pick it up off the ground or if you pick it off of a loot bag or a supply drop, you will have to reload it. So please, once you pick up the gun, go ahead and throw a new fresh mag into it. You are going to have to reload your weapons. So make it a habit. Every single time you pick something up, go ahead and press the R or the reload button and reload your weapons. Now this next tip goes right along with tip number 1, but that's to make sure you have the correct ammo to go with your weapon. Inside of Super People, there are all different kinds of ammo calibers that go along with different guns, you know, 12 gauge, 9mm, 5.56, 7.62. So it's easy to overlook or it's easy to get confused of which bullets go to what gun. Normally, when you pick up a gun off a floor loot, the ammo type is going to be right next to the weapon you're picking up. You will also notice in the top corner that you will see the ammo type that gun requires. So be sure to keep in mind of it and make sure you have a correct amount of ammo that goes along with it. Once you kind of get the swing of things, you'll know which guns go with what ammo, and it should be a no-brainer. But for the newer players, I would prioritize familiarizing yourself with what ammo goes with what gun. Now, tip number 3 applies to pretty much anybody in general, whether you be a Super People regular or just a brand new person learning mouse and keyboard, but that is to make your keybinds work for you. So Super People does a lot of things really well, but unfortunately their stock keybinds are kind of duty. So be sure to go into the settings and find keybinds that go work best for your playstyle. I've gone through and I've changed most of my keybinds. I have a video, I'll go ahead and put it in the link in the description above if you guys want to check that out, but make sure your keybinds are optimized to your playstyle. You don't want to kind of learn this stuff on the fly, and you don't want to like make it harder for yourself, especially for players who are learning mouse and keyboard for the first time. So make sure your keybinds are optimized to fit your playstyle. So go into the section and check that out. Now, tip number 4 is going to throw us right back into Orb Island and right into the middle of some conflict, and that is to hold your breath while ADSing. Now, inside of Super People, you can go ahead and ADS, just aim down sights, but you can also hold the shift key to hold your breath for a more tighter, accurate bullet spray. So do not forget to hold your breath, especially for longer range shots. That's going to be a lifesaver in terms of lasering people. So if you've ever been lasered before and you're like, oh my gosh, how did this guy do it? 9 times out of 10, he was probably holding his breath for a very tight bullet spray and able to get those lasers. So hold the shift key, hold your breath. Now, tip number 5 is also pretty big, and that is that you can cut your parachute and not take fall damage when landing. Once you jump out of the helicopter, you will be parachuting to any desired location, and once you get closer to the ground, you will have the option to cut your parachute. Now, no matter what height you are, if you cut your parachute and land straight on the ground, you will not receive fall damage. So you can feel free to, get those quick drops or anything like that and not have any repercussions. Now, be forewarned though, that if you do cut your parachute and like you kind of clip a building and your feet touch the building and then you fall off that building and onto the ground, you will receive fall damage. So make sure it's one continuous drop and then you're safe. But if it's like bink, bink, you're going to take fall damage. So just know that, but it is going to be a lifesaver, especially for newer players who are kind of like circling around trying to land onto the ground. Just cut your parachute and get to work. Now, tip number 6 is to eat everything you find. Inside of Super People, they have all different kinds of consumables. They've got Super People capsules, which will level you up and level up a skill in your skill tree. We've got power bars, which will increase mobility, which will increase fire damage, which will increase defense. It doesn't really matter what it is, eat it. It's only going to help you in the long run. A lot of players in the beginning are a little curious as to when they should eat it or when they shouldn't eat it or which one they should eat. Just eat it. I mean, it's much better to have it on you in the off chance that somebody like, third parties you or starts shooting you unexpectedly. You're going to have that defense, or you're going to have that power or the speed already up to bat. You won't have to worry about it. It's much easier just to throw it down your pie hole and think about it later than have it in your backpack and never use it. So eat everything you find. The more you learn about the game, the more you'll know when to eat what, but for the time being, just consume it all. It's only going to help you in the long run. Now, tip number 7 is going to be kind of weird, but it's okay to die. You know what? If you're a newer player to Super People, or if you're new to the Battle Royale experience, or if you're new to mouse and keyboard, failure is the best teacher, especially for early lobbies. In the beginning, if you're new to this game, if you're new to mouse and keyboard, chances are you're going to be put into bot lobbies anyway. So your lobbies are going to be filled with robots and just kind of generic mob NPCs. It doesn't matter. It's much more preferable to kind of get in these firefights, get into these predicaments, fight, shoot, die, and learn something from it versus you kind of, playing it safe, kind of playing outside of circle, not getting these firefights. That's only going to hinder you in the long run when you get on these lobbies with bigger people. So get into firefights, go ahead and die. I do it all the time. When I die, I'm like, oh, I should have done this, or next time I'll do that, or man, if I was only here, I could have done that. Failure is the best teacher, and the more you get into these firefights, the more you throw yourself into conflict, the more you're going to learn from it. So go ahead and jump into it. It's perfectly fine. Nobody's going to care. The KD doesn't matter. They reset the stats like every other week. Your KD doesn't matter. Your score doesn't matter. What really matters is that you're learning and improving through the duration of your Super People beta time, so that when the early release happens, when the early release gets released, you'll be a-okay. You'll be comfortable with firefights. You'll be comfortable getting pressured, and it's only going to help you in the long run. So just just die. Now, I think this is number 8, but number 8 is to use your ult as often as you can. Inside of Super People, you're given a random class in the beginning of the match. Each single class has a different ult or abilities to use. And again, just like the power bars, it doesn't do you any good not using it. So try to burn it as often as you can. That's another really good thing about Super People, is that the ults are up relatively quick. I think the longest one is Nuclear with 150 seconds. But if you're Shotgun Master, if you're Seeker, if you're Strike Force, if you're anybody like that with a really fast ult, there's no reason for you not to be using your ult at every single encounter. It's only going to help you. It helps you get the element of surprise. It greatly pushes the winning chance of winning the firefight onto your side. It's a great way to learn. It's a great way to secure kills. Use your ult. I would say almost at every engagement. By the time you use your ult, get into a fight, reset and get into another fight, your ult's 9 times out of 10 going to be ready. So there's no reason for you not to use your ult at every encounter, especially for newer players who are still learning the game. Learn the ults, learn how to best use them, and just, burn them if you got them. Now, number 9 is a really, really big one, especially for the final beta, and that is to utilize the training grounds. If you are new to mouse and keyboard, if you're new to Super People, if you're unfamiliar with the guns, if you're unfamiliar with the recoil patterns, I highly recommend new and experienced players alike to jump into the training ground, work on your aim, work on your mobility, work on figuring out which guns you like, which guns you want to avoid. Get in there and familiarize yourself with the surroundings, with the layout, leaning, crouching, shooting, the whole 9 yards. You're going to want to familiarize yourself with the outs and ins of Super People, and the training grounds is a great way to do it because there is no repercussions. You can literally fart around, do whatever you want in there. You can spend all day in there practicing shooting, leaning, crouching, everything you would need in order to facilitate a win inside of an actual game. So if you're not utilizing the training ground, please do so. I'll put a link in the description above of the training grounds, what to expect, what to find in there, and a full walkthrough of the entire training ground. So please utilize the training ground, utilize all the tools you have to better help yourself succeed. Now, the last tip is something that happens to me all the time. It bites me in the butt almost every single day, almost every single game. And that is to make sure that your backpack is optimized to the best standards in regards to storage. So inside of Super People, it is very easy to just be like, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, and pick up everything you find. It is really important to maximize the weight and the item capacity that you have. Inside of Super People, you're only given X amount of items depending on what tier of backpack you have, and it's important to make sure that you have a healthy spread of everything. So you have a healthy, spread of health, of ammo, of resources, anything like that. You want to make sure that everything's kind of distributed evenly, so you don't have like 90 bandages and no first aid kit, or you have like 400 rounds of 7.62 and no 9mm. You want to make sure that everything's rationalized, and a good rule of thumb is about 200 rounds per gun. So if you have an M4 with a 5.56, you're going to want about 200 rounds. 7.62, 150. You don't really need anything more than that. Anything more than that is just space wasted. If you're shooting 400 rounds and the guy's still alive, you're gonna need a different video. We're gonna see me later, DM me, and I'll help you out. But 200 rounds is the sweet spot. Everything after that, I would prioritize bandages. I'd prioritize throwables. Make sure that you have a healthy spread throughout everything. All right, guys, well, that's it for this video. Again, this video is really just more for the brand new players who are new to Super People, who are just loading in for the first time for the final beta. I hope this brought some clarity to any confusion that the game may have brought in. This is a fantastic game, and I highly recommend it, and I want to see this game flourish, and by doing so, we have to have a very healthy player base. And so if there's any way that I can help keep this game going and help this game to a very healthy and prosperous future, I'd be more than happy to. So if this video helped you, please be sure to like and subscribe. If there's anything I left out, or if there's any videos you would like me to make, let me know in the comment section down below. Also too, I stream right here on YouTube, so be sure to check me out live. I stream right here about 5 or 6 days a week, so you guys can come in and say hi. But that's it. Hope you guys have a great day, and I will catch you on the next one. All right, bye.